Ohio State did something that no other collegiate program managed to accomplish in the 2026 cycle. Let's talk about whether or not that strategy works for them as everybody rebuilds their roster because they have to in this new era of college football acquisition and retention. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like the video, answer the question in the comments below. What do you think about the transfer portal rankings versus the high school recruiting rankings? Which one is the better predictor of future success? This is an interesting time for college football as we are entering a space where you can outbid someone for talent in a way that you never could before. And I don't see this going to change in the near future, but we know everybody wants it to change in the far future. That is a salary cap, a limit on what you can spend on any player or any roster, and how that it's going to affect your team. We're also seeing players like Diego Pavia and Joey Aguilar and Trinidad Chambliss challenge the NCAA through the courts for more time to play college football, even though it bucks the trend of what we expect college football to be. Joey Aguilar is looking for a fifth year to play FBS football after playing 4 years of football across NCAA, 2 years in JUCO and 2 years at the FBS level. He's looking for another year because, well, he believes he's owed the opportunity to play 4 years in FBS as opposed to just 4 years total. You will have your opinion about this, and I did this segment. Overall, having a 25-year-old starter as your quarterback, even at Tennessee, feels preposterous, and yet that's where we are. Meanwhile, we're still very much focused on high school recruiting in most parts of the country. And Oregon, I think, is the best example of a team that can win at a high level by really going into high school recruiting, developing, and then trying to retain the players that they acquired in high school and pay them more to stay at Oregon. This is also a strategy that we've seen employed by Georgia, who has been very high on, we recruit high school football players that want to be Georgia Bulldogs, and we pay them to remain Georgia Bulldogs as they are willing to invest in the players that invest in the program. It's 1-to-1, and you enjoy that. Kirby Smart also doesn't enjoy transfer portal, doesn't enjoy knowing that guys want to leave his football team, and he even goes as far as to say, hey, we want to know where you're transferring to so we can schedule it because we think you're soft. Maybe there's a bunch of soft players on that team that you went to. There's something to that, right? There's something to, are you willing to stay in a fist fight for a job? There's also something to, I'm getting paid so much more money to leave you, I don't care about the fist fight to come. We'll see, right? Darian Mensah choosing to leave Duke to go to Miami, I think would be a great example of this. Raise up Duke or join national title runner-up Miami. You know what he decided to do because you're a college football fan. I think when we talk about Georgia and we talk about everybody else looks at Indiana, for instance, and says, ooh, that might be a way to go there. And then there are those that see the market inefficiency that is developing in high school and say, we're going to go there, right? There's been less of an emphasis on high school football recruiting, more of an emphasis on signing veteran players out of the transfer portal because everybody's seen what Indiana was able to do the last couple of years. Curt Cignetti flipped the program from terrible, god-awful, bad to 16-0 and Goliath in this here Old Testament college football, man. Just turned them into a monster. Keep waiting on David to show up. They never showed up. It was just that dude beating the hell out of everybody. And one of the reasons that people believe they were able to do it, and I tend to agree, they had an old roster. Average age of that roster is 24 years old. They played a lot of football. They started a lot of football. But I think one of the things that Cignetti was able to do that others weren't was go find great football players on bad football teams. Because what you get when you're recruiting a great football player on a bad football team is a guy that has a hunger for winning unlike any other, as opposed to going to get whoever's fallen off of UGA, Alabama, Ohio State, what have you, guys that were on winning football teams but didn't get to play and they feel some kind of way about it. That's not normally a dog that you're getting there. A dog is a guy that earned the starting job. Usually, you earn the starting job, you want to stay put. That's how that works, right? For the most part. Cignetti had a bunch of guys that earned the starting job and went on bad football teams said, enough, I want to join a winner. Join a winner, and they came together, won themselves a national championship, and look very much like they are here to stay. So now that we're into National Signing Day on posting this segment late at night because I want everything to be done. Like Oregon came through late to take the number 2 spot from Alabama in their high school recruiting class. One of these things that come into fruition, we know what the transfer portal ranking is going to be for some time. So as I take a look at this, let's start with high school. USC has the number 1 recruiting class in the country. They also sign a crap ton of prospects, right? 36 commits total, 3 5-stars, 19 4-stars, according to 247 Sports Composite. Oregon's number 2, 4 5-stars, 14 4-stars. Alabama at number 3, 4 5-stars, 10 4-stars. And then Ohio State at number 4, 3 5-stars and 16 4-stars. And then Notre Dame at number 5, 30 total commits, by the way, 4 5-stars and 20 4-stars. For that matter, Ohio State had 29 total commits, Alabama had 26, and Oregon had 24. Now, if you take a look at the transfer portal, LSU came out very much on top. Lane Kiffin doing what he did at Ole Miss, doing it at LSU, signing a bunch of guys, and they got to produce. Signed 40 transfers, 3 of which are considered 5-stars and as transfer portal candidates, and 11 4-stars. Ole Miss did almost as well, but came up 11 commits shy, man. No 5-stars, but 9 4-stars. And if they retain Trinidad Chandler like everybody expects them, by retain, I mean he doesn't get forced to go to the NFL, they get better. So they're number 2. Number 3 is Texas, who punted on some guys that they were developing to go get some guys that they think can help them right away, which is pivoting away from the whole develop here to, no, we got to go get guys that can win right away. 1 5-star in there and 6 4-stars, right? 19 total commits. Raleigh Brown, Hollywood Smothers, Cam Coleman, they lead a star-studded class in there. Miami at number 4, 12 commits, 7 4-stars, no 5-stars. And then number 5, Ohio State, 17 in, 5 4-stars. Ohio State is the only program across high school recruiting and transfer portal recruiting in the 2026 class with a 5-star, with a top 5 class, which means that they went into both wells and they came out with what they thought they needed. I think it is one more reason for people to feel good about the Buckeyes' opportunity to win the national championship in 2026. It's nothing new, right? However, when you get Julian Sayin back and you're adding to this mix an unknown in college, really, in Arthur Smith, I say unknown as an offensive play caller, we should say. Maybe you've got the run game that you think you need, and Tyler Bowen gets another year with this offensive line. Matt Patricia is going to have to do it without Caleb Downs, Arbel Reese, and Sonny Styles, but that's nothing new to Ohio State. They ought to be okay. What I think is more interesting to look at here is which one of the number 1 classes do we think could compete with Ohio State? Is it LSU or USC? The obvious answer is LSU. And then take a look a little bit further down. Who else was in the college football playoff? Well, Ole Miss was in there. Miami was in there. Ohio State was in there. And then number 6 in transfer portal, Penn State, building from nothing, 36 commits. 54 dudes came to Oklahoma State through the transfer portal. Ridiculous. That gives them number 7. Good grief, man. That means there was a wild exodus, but that's what you'd expect after you buy the head coach after like 3 games into the season. Indiana at number 8, Texas Tech at number 9, Notre Dame at number 10. So Notre Dame and Texas Tech are interesting here. Texas Tech, because they basically made themselves into a transfer portal school, not so much that invested in high school football recruiting. As a matter of fact, if you look at the high school football recruiting rankings for Texas Tech, they're at 17 as opposed to top 10 for the transfer portal, right? Meanwhile, you also got to take into account that Notre Dame's got a top 10 class in the portal and a top 10 class in high school recruiting. I think as we go further down the list, it gets to lead a little bit more of, okay, we see whose philosophy is coming through here. Like Florida, for instance, they signed 19 guys in the high school recruiting class. But if you go to the transfer portal class, they're down to 27 when they signed 26. Behind Florida State, Oregon, for that matter, is at 25. They just don't invest a bunch there. You sit and see how these philosophies work out. Matter of fact, Georgia's at number 32 here with 9 commits out of the transfer portal. They just don't like going in there. Even less so than I think Dabo Swinney likes going in there, honestly. But when you look at how these things are being built, it's can you retain this talent that you're bringing in high school, Lincoln Riley, and can you win right away with this talent that you paid a lot of money for, LSU? I think most people are going to lean toward LSU because veteran, they can play. We know what the head coach is like. We know what the play call is going to be like. We know what LSU is like. Can USC build something that is sustainable in the way that Georgia built something that's sustainable? That part remains to be seen. But for now, Ohio State getting the best of both worlds, which isn't anything new.